What's up, everybody? This is CJ Thomas. Welcome to another Would You Eat It Wednesday. Today's topic, we will be going over salt. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? What about all these myths that we hear out there, okay? And there are a lot of myths concerning salt out there, and I want to dispel some of those myths in this video. This is one I was excited to get to because I hear a lot of times people coming to me trying to get healthier and saying things like, you know, I'm doing really well right now, I'm eating more of these foods, and I'm lowering my salt intake. So this is, you know, I'm really on my game. Well, this might not be something you want to do, and I'm going to tell you why and why not, you know, what the confusion is concerning this whole salt topic, okay? So we've got these, you know, suggestions out there from big organizations, from government recommendations, saying that, you know, excess salt in the diet is going to increase blood pressure, it's going to cause heart attack, it's going to cause dehydration, all this negative press around salt. But is it warranted? Where does this stuff come from, all right? Let's talk first, because there are different kinds of salt, let's talk first about table salt. So table salt is the most common salt that you see. It's on every table, at every restaurant, every fast food place you've ever been to. The regular, you know, bleach white salt that you see in the shakers, you know, this is the table salt that we're talking about, okay? Where does it come from? Remember, when we're talking about food, it always is important where it comes from, whether we're talking about, you know, the burger that you're eating, whether we're talking about the food, the vegetables that you're eating. At some point, we want to know where that food came from, what was the process of getting it from one place to your table, okay? So talking about table salt here, the source is from crude oil flake leftovers, okay? Crude oil flakes. This is where they're getting salt from, table salt. I can't make this stuff up, guys, okay? So crude oil flakes, you know, imagine yourself, you're a crude oil factory. You're making tons of money. You're basking in it. You make all these petroleum products and everything, but you've got this, you know, excess product. So you make your crude oil by heating it up and getting rid of the salt content that's in that crude oil, because you can't use crude oil when it's got the salt in there. So to get rid of it, you heat the crude oil up to 1200 plus degrees, get rid of the salt. Now you've got this pile of salt lying around that's no good to anybody or anything, unless we can remarket this and sell it to you, the consumer. That's right, this is where this salt is coming from. So it's not only not in its original form, it's been heated to 1200 degrees, so it burns out all of the mineral content that was in there, okay? So any minerals that were in there, totally gone. And then because, you know, in this process of heating everything up, you're going to get a lot of nasty effects. They have to put in anti-caking chemicals to keep that salt separated so that it still looks like granules and that kind of thing. They have to put in things like MSG and sugar. Yes, you might be getting sugar in your salt without knowing it. They put in aluminum derivatives, aluminum, a heavy metal. That's something you definitely don't want in your body. And they put in iodine, okay? So iodine, why did they start doing that, you might wonder? Well, there are 0 minerals in table salt once it goes through that heating process. So they found, you know, that this is causing all kinds of degenerative effects in people, okay? So it's causing numerous health problems, not the least of which is goiter. So goiter, people are getting like these growths on their necks around their thyroid gland, and you know, this is bad press for salt. So what do? We put iodine in the salt so that you won't get goiter. So maybe you won't at least see the nasty effects of what's happening to you. We solved one thing, but guess what? You're still getting a really nasty fake salt product, okay? So it's got all these additives, it's got no minerals, and there are 18 other food additives that are allowed in salt. I read on Dr. X's site, he says, believe me when I tell you, nobody really knows what's in this stuff, referring to table salt, okay? So this is pretty bad stuff, okay? One of the other ingredients that's allowed to be added to salt is talc. So you may have heard of talc before. This was used in baby powders back in the day. Now it's no longer used in baby powder, and the reason why? Because talc is a known carcinogen. That's right, it causes cancer. So let's stop putting cancer on the baby's butt, get that out of there, make sure that it's not in food anymore, except for some reason with salt. So the FDA made a special provision for salt. You're allowed to put up to 2% of your product as talc when you're putting a salt product out to the market, you know. Why is that allowed? I have no idea. I don't know who paid the FDA off and why they wanted talc in there in the first place. Probably helps with the anti-caking effect, that kind of thing. But this is nasty stuff, guys, okay? So now you've got a cancerous thing in there. You've got traditional table salt, you know, the white stuff, the Morton's that comes with the little girl with the umbrella on there. This really does cause all the problems that we were talking about, okay? The higher blood pressure, the risk of heart disease, the dehydration. This stuff, all kinds of degenerative disease is coming from table salt. Where are you finding table salt? Again, it's on the tables. pretty much every restaurant you've ever been to. It's also in pretty much all processed foods, until salt started getting this bad press. So the low, you know, the blood pressure, the heart disease, this kind of stuff, they're like, oh crap, what do we do? Let's make, you know, low sodium products, okay? So the processed food companies are now making low sodium. You'll see low sodium product, and you're thinking, oh, this is a healthier product for me. This is what I can eat. You know, the doctor told me I shouldn't be eating too much salt. This is low sodium, so that's what I need. What happens when they take something out of a product? They're almost always putting something back in, usually something that maybe is even worse, okay? So when they're replacing salt, a lot of times they're putting MSG back in. This is an excitotoxin that may cause heart attack, okay? So you replaced one heart attack product for another one, all right? So this is the type of thing, you know, food companies, they do not have your back. This is what you need to know, guys. You have to start watching out for yourself. You have to start doing some research and unlearning what the industry has been teaching you all this time. Let's talk now about pink Himalayan sea salt, because this, my friends, is what real salt is. Pink Himalayan sea salt, also Celtic sea salt. This is the real deal, and this is actually a health food. This can be very, very good for you, okay? Pink Himalayan sea salt has 84 minerals. Remember I told you 0 minerals with the exception of iodine, and that one really drives me crazy, guys, okay? Because they make these good salt companies, the pink Himalayan salt companies, they have to put a label on their product that says this product does not have iodine, a necessary nutrient, okay? That's the quote that you see on these other salt things. So it's trying to get you to think, oh my gosh, I better go back to the white salt and start putting that back in my diet. This one doesn't have my iodine content. But it is a blatant false lie, okay? Iodine is a naturally occurring mineral inside of pink Himalayan sea salt, even though the FDA makes them put a label on there that says that it's not in there. Very, very deceptive stuff. Other minerals in there, it's got calcium, it's got magnesium, it's got potassium, copper, iron. This is all stuff that you need in your diet. This is good stuff, and we need these trace minerals. We've got to have them. Salt's a great way to get it when you get it in the right form, okay? What else does pink Himalayan salt do? Well, it helps you avoid dehydration. That's right, avoid dehydration. Pretty much everything you've been told about salt, the opposite is true when you get the right kind of salt, okay? So it helps you avoid dehydration, you balance your fluids, you balance your sodium, potassium levels. By the way, potassium is a big deal here too. So when we're talking about salt, potassium, you've got to have good potassium levels to put in. When you've got salt coming in, you want potassium coming in. Where does potassium come from? Everybody thinks of bananas, but there's actually a lot of healthier, more nutrient-dense places you can get potassium, like avocado, like spinach, like sweet potato, wild salmon, pomegranate, Swiss chard, beets, lima beans, white beans, and dried apricots, all better sources of potassium than bananas. Just a little side note there. So more myths we're trying to dispel as we go along here, all right? Pink Himalayan sea salt, also excellent electrolyte source. Think an electrolyte source. What do you usually think of? Gatorade, Powerade, this junk that's on the market, okay? Electrolytes come in pink Himalayan sea salt. This is good stuff, guys, okay? So you've got proper brain function, muscle function, nervous system function. It helps with digestion. It helps with, it's a nutrient enhancer. So some of these other minerals that you get in your diet, like calcium, zinc, iron, folate, B12, they are enhanced by putting salt in your diet. So it actually helps you absorb those nutrients, which otherwise might just go through your system without being absorbed. So salt, the right kind of salt, helps you absorb these nutrients, okay? It supports your respiratory health, supports sinus health, supports, prevents muscle cramps, I should say, promotes bone strength, helps you regulate your sleep, helps support libido, it regulates blood pressure, it's got increasing hydration and a pH balancer. This is the stuff that real pink Himalayan sea salt can do for you, okay? This, and it's been just dismantled by these corporations, by the FDA and others. You know, you've got the American Heart Association telling you salt is bad for you. You've got the FDA telling you that iodine's not in there when it's in. You've got the FDA also telling you that you know, it's okay to put talc in this product. Remember, talc is a carcinogen. So who's really got your back here? Is it the FDA? Is it okay when you see a product at the store that says FDA approved, just because it's FDA approved, is that a good supplement? I don't think so. Just because the American Heart Association put their little heart symbol on there, do you think that's a good product? I don't think so, okay? Now, it might be, but just that label doesn't tell us anything at all, guys, okay? So salt, the right kind of salt, Celtic sea salt again, pink Himalayan sea salt, very, very good for you in the right proportions. I put Himalayan sea salt on everything, guys. I put it in, you know, my vegetable stir fries, I put it on my eggs, I put it every morning in my water, okay? So my morning water drink, I do a lemon water, I add in Himalayan sea salt and cayenne pepper. This is a highly detoxifying drink. This is a highly hydrating drink. So I notice, you know, sometimes you'll get a glass of water and you drink it and your mouth is still dry for some reason. You know, the tap water that we get is not the highest quality. It's not bad for, you know, compared to other societies that just don't have that available, but there's a lot of junk in there too that we can go over at another time. But you put salt in there and it actually has a more hydrating effect, which is totally counterintuitive to everything we've been told growing up, okay? So it's pretty crazy to me, all the lies that are out there. And again, we've really got to start watching out for ourselves, because these big organizations do not have your back. There's too much money at play, and that's my little rant there. So how do you find good salt? Again, we're looking for pink Himalayan sea salt and Celtic salt, but don't just look at a product and know and see the word sea salt and think that it's a good product, okay? So ways we can tell, you know, sea salt, the term can be used and it can be a total scam. It doesn't have to be a good salt, okay? So you want to look for a couple things. You want to look for unrefined, okay? If it says refined on there, that means it's gone through some of that processing where they're removing minerals from the product. Not what you want. Remember, the minerals are what makes salt good. So you want unrefined salt, and you want to look at the color as well. So pink, sandy rose color, that's good indication of a good pink Himalayan sea salt. And also in Celtic sea salt, you're looking for kind of a brownish off-white sandy color as well. So this is what you're looking for: color and unrefined. Celtic sea salt, pink Himalayan sea salt, not the Morton's, not the table salt, not the white stuff. Anything, if you see the bleach white salt on the table, this is a hell no signal, okay? Get that stuff out of the diet, because that is the bad stuff, and that will do the stuff that people warned you about. But if you get the good stuff, you're actually doing yourself a favor. So that's it for salt, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you got other ones, let me know. Please send this video to some of your friends who think that they're doing a good thing with the low salt diet, okay? We really need to get this information out there. I think this is one of the bigger myths that's out there right now. And like I said, salt can be good for you. We just gotta look for it in the right places. I'm CJ Thomas. This is Would You Eat It Wednesday. Have some good salt. Later.